cancer is so indifferent. It just doesn't care who it touches. And it affects so much of every other part of your life.
And in the back of your mind, which never leaves your mind, is, are they going to die?
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to part 3 of Sydney and Susan's story. This part is truly amazing. After hearing all of the scary stuff that they both went through, Sydney watching her mom battle this illness, and Susan obviously being a badass warrior fighting her cancer, their perspective on life just changed completely in the most beautiful way. So they talk about that here, and obviously it was not easy getting to that point. One day you think your life is going one way and all of a sudden it's completely flipped upside down, and how to deal with that, and how it's okay to not always be the strong one and not feel like you need to always hold yourself together. And they just have some amazing advice on how to react to those sorts of scary things, because shit happens that's out of your control, and they have the best example of that, and how with their hilarious personalities and positive attitudes were able to overcome something that seems so difficult to face. I am so inspired by their story and their perspective on life. So here's the rest of Sydney and Susan's story. You're gonna like it.
April 22nd, 2015. There I'm with an oncologist at Georgetown, and she basically said, we're going to take you through this. You're going to do some really, really strong chemotherapy. It's probably going to be 4 months in and out of the hospital. So the summer of 2015, I was in and out of the hospital every other week. Sydney got to take me once, and she said she'd never do that again because I was such a witch when I woke up. They give you pre-meds before they give you the chemo, to relax you. And it's like Benadryl and like whatever else, and you get really sleepy, and then like they wake you up. Sorry.
It's like Satan's spawn waking up. You're like, okay, listen, I know you have a head injury, but seriously,
come on.
So it was a very long summer.
Right.
No hair. She was like 180 pounds and maybe like skinny and bald. We have a picture of her in her bathrobe. Honestly, this is ridiculous humor. Like, this is not good to make fun of this, but we have a picture of her in the bathrobe, and she's like this, and like she's bald, and I'm like, oh my god, it's a monk. The last airbender.
Sydney, I was about to ask, like, how was it scary for you to see your mom look like this, going through this, and you're like, she looks like a mom.
Actually, I was actually very proud of her, because that's like I like being like having the girly side of me. Like, I like painting my nails. I like having my hair done. And like, she has always been like that, like more than me. But she went full force in there, like, all right, let's do it. Let's shave my head.
I very much became the warrior. You can go several ways when you have cancer, about the hair loss and about, the way you look.
Yeah.
Through the summer, getting chemo all the time, I would get very, very frustrated because I'd have to pack a bag like every other week, and it was like leaving my house, leaving my family, having to go to the hospital, it was
constant reminder.
It was a big drag. Although I will say, the folks at Georgetown, I had the best team I could ever hope for. The nurses on the floor and the doctors. I mean, I've never felt so taken care of. And the saying, Megan, when you really discover who your friends are when you're down or when you're ill.
Yeah.
A good friend of mine actually met with all our neighbors in our cul-de-sac and started a program called Take Them a Meal.
We had meals for months.
And and when Sydney and George would come home from the hospital every night, there was a hot meal waiting on the counter for them.
Or for breakfast. We had a lot of breakfast quiches.
Yeah.
Bread. Honestly, it was a nice little change up. Sorry, Mom, but it was nice. I was like, oh, okay, what am I having today?
I don't need Mom's chicken anymore.
No. We're having ravioli tonight.
So yeah, it was a really wonderful, and George created he was big. He developed awesome. There's a site called Caring Bridge for people that are in the hospital and very ill. And so he would update Caring Bridge every night, and people it became a journal, an online journal, and people would actually, thank him for updating it so frequently, and they would wait, like with bated breath with updates about me.
Mhm.
And that was the way that we finally were able to let everybody know my progress, and they would reach out with, good tidings and prayers, and, lots of prayers. There were a lot of prayer circles. It was just absolutely incredible. And so his method of, everybody wanted to come over and see me. So he created a thing where if you see a green piece of construction paper, it's a go. You can come in and see her.
Mhm.
If you see red, please don't come. Don't even ring the doorbell.
I'm telling you, this man was
She's
organized.
resting.
Like, it was
Wow.
insane.
And you put that in your door of your house?
It was on the doorway or the
door.
mailbox.
Because,
Oh,
everybody
wow.
wanted to come by and see me.
Right.
And there were times
energy,
there were times when people would come in and we'd just sing on the deck outside because they bring food, and I would have, because of the brain surgery, I would have like a little drainage out of my nose and stuff like that. It was kind of gross.
Mm-hmm.
But, everybody was so good natured. Like, they were just so concerned and so worried. And
Yeah.
it really made us feel
loved.
Yeah, loved. And there were
Yeah.
people out there that really cared, and your parents and you and Katie included.
Oh, Dad's making his way down here.
August.
Dad, do you want to say hi?
I finished my last round of chemo, and they did an MRI to see where I was. And the nurses were really great. I had one nurse that said, okay, well, the results from the MRI aren't back yet, and I've got to leave for the day. And I'm like, because I was like dying.
Right.
And she's like, okay, I'll be back tomorrow morning. And the next morning, she and another nurse and
She's making a drink. I'm sorry.
This is like the best part of the story.
I know. I'm
but
sorry.
Shut
up. You make your bourbon in a minute.
So they
like waiting with bated breath.
Yeah. So this is the end of August of 2015, and they, been in and out of the hospital all summer. And they come in with balloons, and she hands me the MRI report, and there's no evidence of recurrence disease. And it was quite incredible. And they immediately, as soon as they got the results of the MRI, they started processing me for a transplant, because this was like the goal of completely curing me.
Mm-hmm.
Because the survival rate without a transplant was like 18% after 2 years.
Yeah, and on top of that, she is two of four kids who had a brain tumor in one family, which is very two different types of brain tumors. Her brother had a
acoustic neuroma.
So that's very odd to have like two types of brain tumors in one family as well.
It's a dumb question. Like, cancer's not genetic, is it?
Cancer
is
genetic.
His wasn't cancer.
But tumors, different kinds, cancer is genetic, but like not for like there's no
the kinds they have
lymphoma in our we're more prone to heart disease here.
Georgina.
I just wanted to mention I heard I was overhearing here. Is this live?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got thousands of fans listening in right now.
I was gonna say that when they extracted the bone marrow from Sue's, they needed 3 bags, 2 bags, and it's like an IV size bag, 2 bags for her transplant, the 3rd bag in case she ever needs it again.
Oh yeah.
It's
very
kept
forward.
forever.
Recovery.
It's kept forever.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very forward. See, he knows this. He knows the stuff. This is what I'm saying. George knows the stuff. He knows everything.
So
because you're a genius.
October 7th, 2015, I had a stem cell transplant using my own cells that I had donated that had been cleansed of all cancer.
Which is so cool.
Yeah. And I basically
just rehydrated
it was
herself.
it was like just a blood transfusion all day.
From yourself.
Yeah.
Wow. It's like recycling.
They gave me meds. I just laid there and I got better.
Yep. Just like that.
Yeah. Well, not just like that, but there was, it was a couple weeks in the hospital after that, and that's when I lost my hair, and I had to get my hair shaved or my head shaved.
But she took it like a champ.
Yeah.
We all did. It was, honestly, it happening was shorter than the after, just like trying to make sense of it all.
Yeah.
Right. So
And
I'm sure you were just going a million miles a minute
Yeah.
for those months, and you probably didn't have a lot of time to process it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So when was your point when you could finally take a deep breath, and was there ever a moment of relief?
There's like 2 phases, I think. Like when she made it out of surgery, you know, she's alive.
Mhm.
It's fine.
Step
And she's
one.
not a vegetable. And then I'd say when she was home and like after she was just kind of hanging out for a while. Like it wasn't even like she had made it past recovery, wasn't fatigued at all or anything. She was just kind of like chilling, waiting to get into the swing of things. And
So
it
it kind
was
of
nice,
felt like normal
Yeah.
for a moment.
like stay-at-home mom vibes kind of deal. And
She never had.
yeah, and I was gonna say it was nice to have that, and for us to just appreciate that. And every October we get to celebrate another year of her being clean. I guess, but what do you say? I don't know. Clean, cancer-free.
5 years. 5 years tomorrow. 5 years.
5 years tomorrow.
Wow.
So-
So that's the
October 2nd.
date. So that is the date.
That
So
she
the
was
day that you
officially clean.
So even though my real birthday is
Yeah.
in September, October 7th is my new
New
birthday
Wow.
because I was reborn.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe we're doing this the night
Yes.
before. That's amazing.
I know, isn't that funny?
Wow.
It was meant to be. I was canceling for like 2 weeks, but it's meant to be.
Yeah. We should just do this again tomorrow.
Wow.
Wow.
God.
I hate that we have to like glaze through this because I know this was the most traumatic experience of both of your lives, I'm sure. And so, I mean, of course, you have so many stories of ups and downs and scary moments.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I want to ask you all about that, but I am curious of how this whole experience has changed your perspective on life. It's a big, big monster of a question, but how has going through something like that? I guess for you, Sid, first, like seeing your mom go through something like this, like I'm sure you had some scary thoughts. But how did you kind of get through that?
It's definitely scary. Again, I think I really grew up so fast. Like I was like not having it together. Like every normal kid like that they do even now. Like 25-year-olds our age right now are not like fully equipped to write a freaking check. Like, you know. Like, and so like I really like that taught me a lot to just like grow up and like understand what's really important. And I kind of related it to soccer because the sacrifices you have to make in order to like just like being healthy and taking care of yourself and your family. Like if I knew I was going to have a long day and I had to be at Georgetown that night, I'm going to bed earlier, like not seeing my friends that day, like going home and spending time with my dad to be there for him instead of like going to see a movie with my friends. It was hard. Like it was a lot of sacrifices. I was seeing the person who raised me like go through all of this, and in the back of your mind, which never leaves your mind, is, are they going to die? Is it going to happen again? Are they going to die? And like being aware like mentally of all that as well, like to take care of yourself is really important. So like I go to therapy. Like I've gone to therapy for years, and it really does help. And making sure like your family members take care of themselves. Like even though my dad loves those cigars, you best believe I'm on top of him to quit.
Yeah.
It's changed my outlook so much because it teaches you to understand what is important and also not to dwell on it, because me and dad are closest to her. So we're always very, very cautious of her, like jumping waves in the ocean. And my aunt actually said to me once, Sid, it's just a speed bump. It's fine. And to me, it was the most traumatic thing in my life.
Yeah.
But like, she really wants to move on, and we should move on. We deserve it. We went through all of this. So why still stay in this blip of like terribleness? We might as well get over the speed bump.
After a little bit of therapy and a little bit of reflection, I can say that every day is a blessing. And I'm very, very grateful for the people around me, my friends, my family, my coworkers, especially Sydney and George. I couldn't have done it without either one of them. My sister was such a source of strength, even though she's a pain in the neck. But so like I said, you really learn who cares about you, who are the important people in your life.
I think you learned about like what kind of life she wants too, because
Yeah.
I've seen her do things after she was sick that she never would do ever.
Really? Like what?
She went to California and went horseback riding. She is fucking
What the
wants to golf. Dad
What
just
the
brought her
heck?
golf lessons.
what the heck?
She's
Why not?
doing stuff. She's like getting pedicures every week. And
No, not every
Dad's driving Dad nuts because she spends all the money, but like, you know, she's having.
I think you have the
A
best
girl's
excuse.
gotta have nice nails and toes.
Yeah.
Don't you
Yeah.
afraid.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I honestly could ask questions all day long because I know this is such a crazy life experience. But it sounds like you guys have really beautiful perspectives now on life, which it sucks you have to go through some shit like that just to have that perspective.
Mhm.
So, you know, to wrap things up, like you kind of talked about what you're doing now, but like, what are your hopes for the future now after all of this?
My hopes is that we find a cure for cancer, which is that's like world peace. But you know, I will always say, if anybody asks me, cancer is so indifferent. It just doesn't care who it touches, and it affects so much of every other part of your life.
Mhm.
So yeah, my hopes are that we as a family continue to grow and love each other. We see Sydney graduate with her master's next year, or at least get her diploma and fly from the nest.
And get the hell out.
Get the hell out. And hopefully George and I can start reinventing the wheel towards retirement.
Sid, I do want to ask you to wrap things up too. What would your advice be to someone who's, you know, watching a family member or going through something that seems so scary with like the worst possible thoughts? Like, what's your advice to someone to just stay strong and power through it?
Well, to the world-class overthinker that I am.
Nice. You're in good company.
Yeah. Just to understand that, like, one, I've told my friends this before, like, you don't have to have it together through this process. Like, you don't need to be the strong one. No one asks you to be the strong one. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be upset and feel alone. But also to give yourself a minute to accept what's happened, and like, you know, like that cliche thing where, you know, life is an iceberg and it's like you see 10% and then the 90% is underwater and you don't see it, and that's supposed to be the hard work. And like, that's kind of how that situation was. It's not about what happens to you, it's how you react to it. Because I could have dropped out of school and been home with my family for a year. I could have quit soccer and trust me, I wanted to. My coach is a dick. I wanted to.
But can I interrupt?
No.
That was a discussion. She actually said to me she wanted to come back and take care of me, and we all agreed no.
Yeah. And so you can do that, and like, that's not giving up, it's changing the routine.
Mm-hmm.
But I reacted to the situation, and I think that's the best way to handle it, is like how you react to it, and just think about that before you make any like irrational decisions. And then also, if you're someone who's like watching a family member go through it, just be as supportive as you can. Like, texting somebody might feel awkward,
compassion,
but it does mean a lot. And understanding, like, don't say that you know what they're going through, but saying, hey, like, if you need anything, or just do it. Like, just bring them over something to eat.
Yeah.
Like my very good friend, mom and her friend, also Tracy, she would just show up, and it would be like thank you, like,
you just
thank
know.
you know, you just know.
Yeah. So, I think
right now.
Is he trying to come in?
He said, I don't want to take her time right now, but she should interview me.
I would love that after we put this in.
Knowledge about the caregiving thing.
Yeah.
But that's another episode.
So,
I know. I feel like I probably was like biting off more than I could chew. Is that the right terms? Because I feel like there's so much I wanted to talk about, and I feel like,
sorry, we talked a lot.
No, but I shouldn't have been like, hey, tell me your
edit.
entire cancer story right now in the span of an hour. Like, I just want to obviously reiterate the really important point of, it's okay if you don't have it all together. Like you don't have to put on that strong front. And I feel like that's just a common thing in our culture right now is like, oh, you gotta look tough and you gotta be the tough guy and just power through, when I think you can actually find comfort in knowing that person that I always see who looks so tough, they're having a hard time. Okay, I can feel okay that I'm also having a hard time, and we're all human.
Exactly. And when you say that to somebody, it like makes them be vulnerable. It means a lot just to be able to say, you really don't need to have it together. Like, even if you're like the toughest guy in the room, like George will tell you, you know, like it's okay. Well, sensitive is in, all right?
Yeah, that was beautiful. I appreciate you sharing your entire story. I mean, you know, it's a casual.
We should have made it the happy hour.
45.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for chatting with me. This was my first duo interview. It was very fun.
Sorry we interrupt each other a lot. It's like Trump and Biden. She's got this like Trump and Biden right now.
She's got such a big head. You didn't see me.
Oh, what you? Shut up. Get huge. You're gonna be huge. I can't. I'm done.
Love this. No, we need a whole nother episode just on you guys talking over each other. More entertaining than that damn debate.
Thank you for having us.
All right, guys, shout out to Sydney and Susan for being the best and just sharing their whole story and some scary moments, but also their positive perspective after it all. And I just think that we can take so much from their experiences, just knowing that crazy stuff in life is going to happen. And like Sydney said, it's about how you react to it and surrounding yourself with positive people and knowing that you don't have to do it alone. And I think that that's something that we can all learn from right now, is we feel like we just need to power through this and be strong, when it's okay to give yourself some grace and know that you can admit to struggling and people around you may have gone through something similar. And I also think it's so cool how Sydney was able to find something positive out of all of this and be inspired by the therapy that she saw her mom receiving and how she saw herself in that role, and she's now pursuing a new career because of it. So I think that is really cool and just a lesson to us to listen to your heart. Oh my gosh, that sounds so cheesy, but even if something bad is happening in your life, finding the positives in it, and you think your life's going one way and something happens and you're like, okay, maybe there's something else out there for me. So I think that that's really cool. It's something that I am trying to learn too. So thanks, Sydney, for that. But thank you to you guys for tuning in to this episode, and I'll see you next time.